go, my friend.
Liftoff of mission 41D, the first flight of the orbital Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower. Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic start to the AM here. Happy Wednesday. It is ridiculously cold here today. I hope you're all surviving, doing well, feeling sharp, feeling refreshed, and are ready for what should hopefully be a nice trading day. Yesterday, right, relatively successful session in the market. We've continued to kind of build on the momentum we've been establishing here over the last, say, month or so. And I'm really looking forward to continuing, right, this path kind of higher in my portfolio. Not to be a jinx or anything along those lines, but it's been nearly a month since my last red day. And then I'm not saying that as like a flex, or not saying that to like rub it in anyone's face. I'm more saying that because it's a good reminder to me that when I focus on honestly losing as small as I possibly can and focus on cutting my trades without being greedy, right? So being objective in closing those positions before they either give back gains or reverse completely has put me in a situation where it's just a lot easier to be green. And now I have a month's worth of evidence, right, to essentially suggest that, hey, this is actually working out a lot better. It's objective at this point, right? It's no longer a theory, it's now a fact. And that is something that I want to always kind of remind myself of and always push myself towards. So that is going to continue to be my obsession here, right? That focus, my energy, my enthusiasm all has to go towards controlling those variables, right? Being cool, calm, collective, and as close to objective as I can be during my trades. And then from there, it's the lifelong commitment to just wanting to get just a little bit better, right? If I can get just a little bit better at cutting my losers, if I can get just a little bit better at adding to my winners, if I can get just a little bit better at closing my trades as my P&L is increasing versus on pullbacks, then I'm going to keep compounding away, right? And building up a tremendous amount of buffer and space and follow through. I'm going to accomplish every single one of my objectives here as a trader. So the challenge basically that I'm setting for myself, the challenge that I'm trying to remind myself of, is that it is so easy to get in love with my ideas. It's so easy to fall in love with thinking this trade's going to be the monster. It's so easy in thinking that my shit doesn't stink. And that's not the reality. And the more that I obsess over protecting myself from those impulsive, greedy, I don't know, like unfounded, basically beliefs, right, that the market likes to give me, the more that I actually accomplish my objective. So it's like when I delay my gratification from needing the result on a trade to trade basis to just having some gratification to being successful at the end of the day, end of the week, right, end of the month, the results are way better than if I needed that immediate dopamine hit, right? And that for me is fascinating. It's what's tremendously fun and rewarding and exciting and profitable, right? And those are all good habits that I want to continually reinforce and just get a little bit better at every single day. So that's really what my focus is going to be here this morning, right? That's going to be where I'm putting all my energy. We'll say 95% of my energy. The other 5% is making sure I just don't freeze to death here today. But hopefully, right, we can have ourselves a really strong day here, continue to build up on the habits that we've been focusing on, and just set ourselves up, right, to be successful and to, yeah, create the outcomes that we're looking for here in our trading. So the, I don't know, maybe the moral of the story, right, more than anything else, is that beating the market occurs at the other end of a few like difficult conversations that we need to have with ourselves. And for me, right, that difficult conversation is basically behaving in a way that I know I can behave, right? Being in control, not allowing my short-term impulses to basically trigger the worst versions of myself. And that difficult conversation, right, is about not believing every single one of my short-term thoughts. It's understanding that most of those ideas aren't actually putting me in situations where I'm likely to be successful or where I'm likely to be profitable. So the hard conversation, right, is basically not believing 99% of my short-term impulses and not needing validation from them and finding my confidence, finding my rhythm, finding my purpose occurs when I'm able to delay that gratification and push towards, right, that longer term objective. So that's my obsession here today, right? I'm not optimizing for a singular outcome or from a outcome from a singular trade. I'm designing everything from the perspective of how can I set myself up to win, and not just win today, but win tomorrow, win this week, win this month, win this quarter, win this year. And that ultimately is the kind of like the trophy, right, that I am going towards. So that's my obsession here today. Doesn't mean it's going to be a green day. Doesn't mean it's going to be a red day. It just means that I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that I'm setting myself up for that long-term success, not that short-term reward. Like making $1,000 isn't going to change my life, right? It's probably not going to change anyone's life. And short term, that feeling can be awesome, right? It can feel incredible. It can feel as if it's everything that I possibly could have ever wanted, but it doesn't change anything. And falling in love with that result and pretending that, hey, that's enough, or that means that I'm perfect or that I'm infallible, is a lie, right? It's just not reality. And I'm not going to fall for those tricks. I'm not going to allow myself to self-sabotage. And I'm definitely not going to allow bad habits to creep in because I've been on a good streak. Yesterday in the email that I sent out, I kind of put out a Venn diagram, and it was kind of a half-baked one, right? It was not fully comprehensive, but it was kind of like a realization that if I take bad habits on one end of the diagram, right, and I replace them with habits from the right side of the diagram, that I'm going to be a lot closer to being profitable. And when I mix them up or I do things in between, I end up kind of being a little bit stuck. So what I want to focus on, and I hope everyone wants to focus on this as well, is just trusting, right, that the skills that are on the profitable end of the spectrum, they may not always work, right? It's not a nothing here is absolutes, right? Nothing here works 100% of the time. But it's realizing that, hey, if I do these things over a large enough sample size, I will get the target or the objective that I'm looking for. And so that all starts with that self-reflection, right? That all starts with that honest conversation with yourself. That all starts with not hiding from what maybe our problems are. And it's understanding that nothing good comes easy, and solving our impulses or ignoring those things is a tremendously difficult fight. And we need to put all of our energy and focus into doing better, right? I don't think it's new. I think it's doing better. And the more emphasis that we can focus on better, the more emphasis we can put on improvement, more emphasis we can put on being accountable to ourselves for the variables that we can't control, the more likely we are to get the result that we're looking for. And our P&L is going to catch up, right, to those skills and to that obsession and to that pursuit of improvement. That's my goal, right? That is what I'm thinking about here today. And hopefully, right, the market will reward me and reinforce those beliefs. Maybe not today, but it'll reward me tomorrow, right? It will reward me on Friday. It'll reward me next month. And it'll continue to prove to me that, hey, behaving this way is sustainable. Behaving this way does create improvement. Behaving this way does make me the best trader I can be. And I love that. I love it. It is so much fun. It is so rewarding. It is such a better feeling, right, than constantly feeling sorry for yourself, or constantly feeling as if it's rigged against you, or constantly looking for something else to blame. there's a tremendous feeling of, so it's almost like a feeling of liberation where you are no longer burdened by the problems that are holding you down, when you feel as if you're in control for solving those problems. I love that feeling. I love that uncomfortable moment. I love that pursuit of improvement. I think that's ultimately what makes, or what has allowed me to have a long career here playing this game, because it's not about the daily P&L swings. It's not about the P&L graph, right? It's not even about the numbers in my bank account. It's that every day I can get a little bit better. Every day I can get just a little bit closer to my target. Every day I can change something that will improve my life. I love that pursuit. I think long term and even short term, and I talked about this in my email yesterday, is that if you want to get focused on something, if you want to get better at something, if you want to buckle down and work on something, you have to fight through that initial period of agitation. And this was a concept that I heard from Andrew Huberman, deep, close, personal friend, while I listened to his podcast. I don't actually know him personally, but it's an awesome podcast. And he talked about how knowing that if you want to buckle down and work on something, you're going to be agitated about that process for a while before you're able to kind of get into that zone of focus. So knowing that it's going to suck, knowing that it's going to feel uncomfortable, knowing that it's going to make you feel a bit grumpy or agitated or annoyed or whatever it might be, normal. That's like seeing your muscles improve and grow and get better and get stronger. And I think finding comfort in that feeling and embracing it and saying, hey, this is okay, because at the other side of this is where I see that improvement, I think is like a mental cheat code on fighting through that initial period of suck. So that's my rant for the morning. A little bit maybe longer than normal, but something that I think is very important for us to all focus on and just get a little bit better at every single day. And I hope you're all ready to take that next step forward here this morning and to keep progressing, improving, and crushing the market and having a lot of fun while we're doing it. So yeah, let's get after it. Very excited to be trading with you all here this morning. Let's have ourselves a day here, team. So first things first, right? We got a relatively busy economic calendar. We got some Fed speak, we got some PMI, we got ISM, and then a lot of Fed speak here in the afternoon. From a Forex factory perspective, right? We've got crude oil inventories here at 10:30. So maybe that's going to impact my ability to trade CL here just a little bit today. But very much looking forward to just seeing what the market has in store here now. So with that being said, let's start mapping things out. Let's figure out what we want to do here this morning. And guys, let's have ourselves a great freaking day. So what's the count here on ES? Let's get going. And yeah, let's crush it. Yeah, I'm going to call this a 1 for 3 to the downside. You're spot on, right? Red candle, decreasing volume, right? And then green price action here so far. Very, very low volume there yesterday. Lowest of the month. I mean, it's not saying too much, it's only early February. But does give us a little bit of flexibility to play price action here in either direction. Targeting a move towards 60-70, right, to the upside, and then beyond 150 maybe you could get up towards. And then to the downside, right, targeting 60-20. And then you got some space. We had a lot of names that gave us. Can you guys see my screen? It looks to be set working fine for me here, Chris. It looks fine on my end, but yeah, with this new setup, always a little bit paranoid, right? But yeah, let me know if there's any issues. And yeah, we're in good shape here for a strong move today. Like I was saying, right, a lot of names that gave us earnings yesterday, like AMD gapping down significantly, right? Google gapping down significantly. It's gonna be very similar to the theme we experienced last week, right? If we have a little bit of a gap up on the index levels, and then the gap down gets bought up, right, on those mega cap earnings names. Maybe that creates a bit of a catalyst, right, for a move up towards 6,100. So we're going to want to be looking at those carefully, right, before we do anything crazy. All right, NQ, what's the count? Similar, not so similar? How do we feel? Yeah, so 1 for 3 here to the upside. So again, not really trending price action. Yeah, very similar story, right, to what we encountered there on ES. We're targeting 21.7, 21.8, 21.9, 22,000, and we can go up maybe 22.1 up towards, like, say, 22.4. There's a lot of space. I don't know if we need to go that far. If I get a move from 21.7 to 22, it's going to be a pretty big Costco run today. So if that ends up happening, I'll be buying the Wagyu. But let's see, right? And then to the downside here, 21.4 is going to be the starting point. And we're in good shape, right? Cool. All right, CL. So we got 1030 data here today. Green candle, decreasing volume gap. Gap down. So 1 for 3 here to the upside. 1030 data, which means I will not trade CL here today, right, until that data drops. Maybe that's something I need to backtest a little bit more if I actually do need to wait for that, but I don't know if it's really gotten in the way here yet. So I'm still going to play ORB fake out, then breakout towards, go pre-market, or I guess high days. We'll call it 73. 74, 74, 50, 75. And then to the downside here, targeting 70, 50, and below. So it looks good. So let's see if we got some juice here. Apple, green candle, decreasing volume gap down. So 1 for 3 here again. I'm still looking for like that, yeah, BB reversal type setup, right? Or a breakdown here under 226. I don't see too much changing there. Tesla opening up in the implied middle of its range. We need to get over 394 or under 380. 1 for 3 here again. Okay. Microsoft, inside bar. And so we're looking for a breakout here, 415, 409, not too much changing. Cool. Amazon gave me that bull flag breakout, but not on volume and not really sustaining that here this morning. Has earnings tomorrow. So we need to see basically that both like continuation. AMD, right? 2 out of 3 with volume. And this is just a textbook Bollinger Band reversal scenario. Right? Overreaction, gap down here, post earnings. Earnings were actually pretty decent, all things considered. Right? Beat on top and bottom line. Maybe we see bulls try to defend that $100. Nvidia gapping up here, which is interesting. Green candle, decreasing volume, gap up. So 2 out of 3 without volume, right? Volume is the missing ingredient. Excuse me. And we're looking for, we'll call it a 122 breakout here. Just round it up. Or like a rejection off of 124. And we'll draw out this red box here now, right? So basically above, we've got mostly evidence of rejections versus breakouts here, right? So it wouldn't be surprising to see it get stuffed inside that red box. And we'll just go actually rejection inside the red box. Cool. Meta. Honestly, dude, this thing is a lunatic. I am blown away with Meta's ability to just climb. Yeah, so then I only trade futures, at least like from a day trading perspective, but I like to look at these leading names because they make up the largest allocation or they have like the biggest influence on how the indexes move. So I want to make a plan here on the index level, but then I'm looking at the leading names to see how consistent that story is. So we're still going 707 here. So 1 for 3. And we could look for maybe, let's say a breakdown here under 692. Okay, Netflix, higher high, higher low, increasing volume, gap down. So first one with volume. Kind of looks a little bit like a failed breakout, though, over that earnings range, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days of consolidation here. And then fails to make that pop higher, right? So maybe a bit of an opportunity for like a mean reversion setup. So it'd have to be over 1,005. And then to the downside here, right? Basically a breakdown now under 979. And you can start to maybe look for that gap fill here back down towards 900-ish. Okay. And then Google, huge gap down right into the trend line. So again, would it be surprising to see this act as like a BB reversal? And we'll say BB reversal off of trend line. And then if we lose the trend line, right, under 189, certainly would be pretty reasonable for that to happen. With our earnings names, so names like Google and AMD, what would we expect today's volume profile to look like? Larger than yesterday or smaller than yesterday? Any thoughts? Right, so we're probably expecting today's volume post earnings to be larger than what we saw there yesterday. And yeah, like that'll be a good confirmation, right? That we have a good amount of momentum in store here today. And then VIX continues to fall, right? So 16 spot 96. Obviously still within striking distance of, we'll call it high volatile price action or extremely volatile price action. But yeah, it's probably telling us that the fear is leaving the market here just a little bit. Very similar repetition to what we saw last week, right? Big sell-off and then dump, big sell-off and then fade. So, I mean, look, I would ideally like to get a slightly different pattern than what we saw last week because that wasn't the easiest of trading or trending price action. But if we can continue to find just little pockets of momentum, we're going to set ourselves up, right, to be able to take advantage of some of those moves. So all in all, looking like we've got a relatively consistent story here across the board. And that story is, we'll say, low conviction trending PA. And so we're looking for our narratives to either basically be dip bought here together, right, with AMD and Google kind of leading the charge, or, right, we're looking for those names to kind of flush and to bring everything else down with it. So if we see a generally consistent story of like selling pressure, we have the flexibility on both indexes to be able to trade those scenarios. If we have a kind of breakout opportunity and they push up towards sort of round numbers again, we've got the flexibility to play those scenarios with the indexes as well. So about a minute here till market open. I'm just going to go spend a brief moment, like looking at the trees, getting my mind right, and setting myself up for what should hopefully be a successful trading day. And then, we'll jump back on here in a second and get going for what should be an interesting session. So be back at it again in a minute. If you guys have any questions, anything you want me to go over, any tickers that you're looking at, please feel free to pop them in the chat and I will do my best to kind of go over them here when I get back. So be back at it again in a minute or two and talk to you guys then. All right, so let's get after it here, right? Indexes opening up, little bit of selling pressure here to start the morning. Again, maybe expecting that with AMD and Google, right? Pushing lower. Big volume to start their off, right? Start their day off. But let's see if that continues, right? Let's see if that continues to show us that relative strength and momentum here to the downside. Not sure if I'm convinced that is the path of least resistance here yet, but we'll cross that bridge as we get to it. How's everyone feeling today? Everyone in good shape, feeling sharp, ready to go? Love it, John. Good, Mike. Love it. Oh, yeah, Norm. No baggage here today, right? Focus on what you can control. You're going to be just fine. pretty chill range here so far, right? Yesterday we had 50 points at the open. We're going to be, looks to be a little bit less than that here today. So if we're seeing weak trending price action, right, across the board, and we're seeing a slightly smaller range than what we saw the previous day, kind of telling us our pre-market plan, right, makes a little bit of sense. Like a price action is compressing, right, versus expanding. Pretty decent volume though, a bigger volume than what we saw at yesterday's open. We do have flexibility here today. And then going from there. I've talked about this in the past. I don't know if I'm going to introduce this here quite yet. I would need to test it right before I do anything. But the idea that keeps rolling around in my crazy brain, or however you want to describe it, is on these early morning trades, playing the initial breakout and then retest right of the opening range as a possible setup trigger. There's a few lunatics that like to trade the opening range as like a 30-second breakout. That's like what some of the old school pit traders like to do. And that's essentially that concept. So they establish that range, see buyers step in at those highs or at those lows, and then basically they look to build out their positions from there. So I keep reading about that technique. I keep seeing it being talked about in a lot of the books that I've read. And yeah, that might be something to focus on here at some point. Just keep adding right more and more tools to our arsenal. But yeah, for now, nothing's broken, so I don't need to make any dramatic changes. But if I'm thinking about like what an evolution would look like here in my trading, I think that would be a good explanation or a good kind of like target to push towards. So we'll see. We'll see if that ends up being the case. But something to think about here going forward. Hey, good morning, Preet. For now, I'm still really liking this like double fake out technique. That's been I think a really nice little addition here to our set of tools. And it gives me just a little bit more flexibility, right? We talk about how on certain, because it's just an idea, right? So if we have a high conviction breakout and that breakout goes, right? It turns out probably wasn't high conviction to the upside. Right, so being able to play that narrative here lower or higher, right, depending on where it fakes out, I think is a really powerful tool. Yeah, Topher, that would be the concern, right? Is how can I cleanly identify when a breakout goes, and finding that support appropriately, right, might not always be easy. The delay then should be about 3 seconds at most. If you're using it on YouTube, you want to make sure that the live button is clicked. But yeah, it should be no more than 3 seconds. That is the YouTube ultra low latency setting. If you have live market data, then yeah, that would be the difference. So again, we do have data here at 9:45 this morning, right? So I'm not in a huge rush to make any initial trades, right? We know that it's like red folder data. That's kind of how Forex Factory likes to set it up, right? So we got, okay, orange at 9:45, red at 10. So we've got a period, or the market's kind of showing me a little bit of consolidation, or like a relatively smaller range versus what we saw there yesterday. It's kind of telling me, right? Maybe it's waiting for something, right? Maybe it's catching its breath, waiting for its move, whatever it might be. So I'm going to let those ideas basically breathe, right? Before I do anything hyper aggressive this morning. So inside Discord, I do stream with a 0 latency option, right? That's real time for DTR members. Yeah, I could definitely think about finding a different platform to stream on. That wouldn't be an issue. But YouTube works pretty well for sure. Ultimately, right, 3 seconds. It should not be the reason why you make money or why you lose money. Because of, hey, I'm telling you what I'm looking for before it happens. I'm telling you what my entry price going to be within that range and going from there. Which actually Preet has 30 seconds of latency. So it is not a good option. But yeah, I'm always open to finding a better solution and a better product, right? To be able to share how I'm trading. So always open to suggestions or feedback. Like, truth be told, I've been using yeah, like I've been streaming on YouTube this way for almost 4 years now, probably. And I've yet to find anything that's like consistently better or more stable. Like the issues we had there on Monday with YouTube were honestly the first time I've had issues in 4 years. Or at least the first time that I can remember having significant issues in 4 years. And that level of stability is very, very hard to want to change. There are a few potentially like enterprise options that would be available, but they start to get very, very expensive very quickly. And I love you guys, but I don't want to spend $10,000 every quarter just to be able to live stream. It's a little bit excessive. If the Discord is full, Dennis, you can use YouTube, right? That option still does exist. And again, the latency should not be the limiting factor. But I would fight back against that. Again, right? I'm telling you how I'm mapping out my trades before I ever enter them, right? So I'm not looking at a trade here yet, but I'm always minutes, right, before I enter a trade, you know what my stop loss is, you know what my ideal entry price is, and I'm telling you what I'm looking for to see that reaction. So if you're paying attention and you're listening, you're going to be able to replicate everything that I am doing, and you're not going to be chasing. What I don't want people doing, and it's not because my ideas don't work, it's not that, but you're going to make a lot more money when you're deciding when to enter and how to exit your trades, right? If you're looking to only get in once that I have said I am in, you're always going to be chasing my price and you're always going to be delayed, right? So it doesn't matter if there's a 3-minute delay, a 20-minute delay, a 5-second delay, or 0 delay, right? If you're chasing, you're always going to be behind. So if you want to actually get the same entry price or better, it's not about hearing me that I'm in. It's about studying your entry timing, listening to what I am looking for, and then clicking the trigger when you see those things. And then if you get a different entry, right, or a worse entry, or you took an entry that I didn't take, well, now you have a data point to compare yourself to that you can learn and study and improve from. So chasing doesn't fundamentally work because you make less when we're right and you lose more when we're wrong. And that ratio doesn't actually set you up to be a more successful trader. Seems like it might, right? Oh, if I just chase or take every trade that Michael takes, I'm going to beat the market. But you're going to have different P&L ratios than me. And all of a sudden, right, the math no longer works in your favor. So if you want to fight back against that anxiety and you want to really maximize your P&L potential, the only way that you do that is when you take this information, you take this technique that I teach, and you apply your personality to it. It's the only way to be successful learning from someone else. Yeah, like even when I was working at Airain and copying Steph's trades, my P&L never matched his dollar for dollar, right? Because I'm always behind, I'm always chasing, I'm always feel like I'm missing a piece of information. And once you feel like you're missing something, right, you start to trade with stress or anxiety or whatever negative emotion it might be. And that tends to degrade the quality of your P&L. So my objective here, right, with how I structure this program, how I talk through my trades, hopefully how I interact inside the stream and in our one-on-one calls, is to teach you how to fish, not to be fishing for you, right? Yeah, so what I'm looking for here after entries is I'm either targeting trades towards this red line, so 21,632, right? Or if we've exceeded that red line, I'm targeting the numbers that I wrote down here in my pre-market prep. And then from there, once I get breakouts or I'm in a position, I want to see strong reactions to my trades. And strong reaction is defined as getting 2 out of the 3 things. So I want to see post entry, a strong candle shape. So if I'm bullish, right, candles that look like 1, 2, or 3, right, for them to hold and make higher highs. And for those strong candles and higher highs to have occurred on increasing volume. So if I get 2 out of 3 of those elements post entry, I'm being told that, hey, my trade is strong and I should look to continue to target either my indicator line, right, or my pre-market levels that I have mapped out. If I don't get those three elements, I only get one out of three of those elements, or I get zero of those elements, then I'm looking to close that trade and to get out before things get nasty. 1 second here, team. I'm just getting a phone call. I do have to take this. Apologies. So then you're going to learn, right, how to analyze your trading yourself by studying your decisions, right? By starting to build confidence in what you're seeing and hopefully taking some of the good habits that you learn while watching the stream and applying it to your trading, right? So everyone's going to have a slightly different reason over why they are losing money. And it's important that we focus on how can I solve those individual issues and be selfish in that pursuit. And you're going to get just a little bit better every single day. So that would be really where I would want you to put your energy and your focus. It isn't an absolute. Hello? Yeah, sorry. I was just So my strategy here, all right, so my strategy here, right, is essentially this opening range breakout technique. Where's my mouse? So it's a variation of essentially this graphic. I'm looking for either high volume breakouts away from the opening range that support the daily trend, or I'm looking for rejections or fake outs away from it, right, to also support the daily trend. So I use candlesticks and volume for my confirmation of those ideas, and am looking, yeah, looking for a strong amount of kind of like continuation based on those signals. Yeah, sorry, Glenn, I'm just on hold on a call here. So that's why it keeps kind of cutting out here every now and then. Apologies. So as for position sizing, for me, it's um, my job, right, is to stay within my max loss number. So if I can buy two contracts on NQ and I've got 10 points of risk, okay, I'm risking $400 and that's less than my max loss, right? My max loss is $500 I'm willing to take per trade. So it really is just going to depend on how much risk I have on each play and how much space I have within my max loss number. 1 second here, guys. Hey, sorry about that. Yeah. So then a fake out, right, is when you have a breakout signal occurring and then it isn't able to sustain a higher high above that, right? So it's you find an area of support, that support fails, and you see price action move above and then back under, right, that price. So in this context, right, the fake out here would be above 21,578, and this 939 candle, right, would be the fake out opportunity, or the first fake out. From my end, right, I'm still waiting for this 10 a.m. data, which is why I've not been very aggressive trading any of this price action. And if I look at things here on a daily time frame, pure consolidation. All right, so should be no more phone calls. Sorry about that. But yeah, fake out is just a opportunity where price action makes a higher high or makes a new daily high or new daily low, and it is unable to close under the previous one. So it doesn't necessarily need to be starting to get out of the range. A fake out's relative, right? It could be relative to the previous day's high. It could be relative to the intra-candle high. It could be relative to a midpoint inside price action. So it wouldn't necessarily be strictly defined to being above the previous day's range or below the previous day's range. Like we could play fake outs under the opening range, right? So under this green box or above this green box. You could play fake outs at any one of these levels. You could play this fake out here, right? This type of price action. So really there are an unlimited amount of ways to be able to see one visualized. It's essentially you have a failed move, right? So a fake out would be a failed move. Okay, right? Pretty aggressive algo reaction there. And this now possibly, right, has an opportunity to behave like a fake out. So this candle can't close above, we'll call it this line, right? This blue line, then that's faking out above high of day, right? That would then be a fake out. But so far looking relatively indecisive here across the board. So very limited reasons to be hyper aggressive yet. And then if this candle holds, right, then maybe we could start to target a move towards 21.7. So let's see if that wants to behave the right. So a $1.20 to go on this or a $1.10 on this candle. So no real rush. Certainly looks like we're going to get the volume, right, that we need. Okay. This is looking like it's going to be fake out 1 here. Maybe we could play fake out 2. Doesn't look like it's going to close like a red candle. So can't play that as like a initial rejection. Can on ES. Here we go. We're in business. I could target 35. That's okay. And so stop loss here would be 60, 45, 25. And we're looking for a gentle retest of approximately that green line, right? You're looking for a gentle pullback into that area approximately. Now, this is happening faster than I could have anticipated. So I'll just pass on the burden of confirmation here to the 5-min time frame, and I can look to trade that again. If I'm going to go switch to the 5-min, then NQ appears to be the better scenario because I have a more obvious profit target that's a little bit further away, right? ES, now we're targeting a move towards 60.20, which is okay, pretty doable. But NQ lagging behind here, so it might be the easier trade with more follow through. So I'm going to put my focus on NQ here now. And let's see how this thing closes in the next 50 seconds or so. So watching NQ to the downside, and we need this thing to close basically under this green box, right? That's what we're looking for here. Okay. So 15 seconds. And this glare is killing me. All right. Okay, good close, good enough close. And now we're going to be targeting, right, a move towards sort of that red line-ish. Don't want to see this thing pull back here too much, right? Because we need to be within $500 of max risk, right? So the more this thing pulls back, the more challenging it's going to be for us to get an appropriate entry price. So that would then have to push us potentially to the aggressive, sorry, the pullback technique. Down towards, say, 620. Right, same problem. Let me just be a little bit patient here. $641's a bit punchy. Right, like as is, you'd be risking 27 points, right? So 27 points to justify that risk reward ratio is just a little bit more, right, than the max loss number that I'm willing to take. So we need to get a deeper pullback, right, once this thing breaks down. Again, I think it's going to be relatively challenging to get. So although it looks like it's a pretty crazy trend day here so far, we're doji among dojis, right? It's a very limited amount of follow through here as of yet. You really don't need to be in a rush here to make any decisions. We still do not have a very clear indication of like trending behavior. So maybe it's just going to take a little bit of time, right, for markets to give us that setup. So there's no point rushing here yet. We have not missed out on anything here. $547.50. Again, right? Still no reason to jump into this position here yet. And we don't have a logical stop loss spot, right? So we don't have a logical stop loss until we make a lower low here. Or we get a pullback, right, up towards that 613 area. So right now, our stop loss would have to be our confirmation candle high, which is a ways away, right? So I need to see I need to see a lower low under this candle, or ideally, right, the breakdown happens here on the next candle, because then it's easier for me to get the risk reward ratio and position sizing that I want to justify taking this trade. So yes, I could jump in here at 523, or I could buy at 530. I could do whatever. But then my stop loss, right, is not at a spot where my idea gets invalidated. Making a higher high during consolidation doesn't tell me that my idea is wrong. So we either want to make a lower low and see that hold and base our stop loss on that, or we want to use the higher high established here with our confirmation candle as our stop loss. So we know that if we make a higher high above 614, probably not ready for a bearish continuation. Whereas here, right, price action could pull back all the way to 605 and then sell off, right, and break down without invalidating our signal. So for now, we've not missed out on anything here yet. And I'm just continuing basically being cautious. Again, right, maybe it'd be that 614. If it is 614, then my entry would have to be 90-ish, right? 590-ish. Because that would be the point where I'm risking, 500 bucks. Again, taking an entry early, I might get paid out, but I would be risking more than my max loss number, right? I wouldn't be building out from thinking about how much am I going to lose versus what is my probability of winning. So my probability of winning increases when I'm able to control the pain that my losses cause me, right? And if I can keep that max loss number consistent, yeah, it's going to mean that I'm going to miss out on some trades here and there, but I'm never going to have those like catastrophic blow up type moments, right? Where I lose everything. So that for me is very, very important as a trader. I'm making every decision based off of being the best loser, not being the biggest winner. Being the best loser sets me up to be a bigger winner, but trying to like optimize for my biggest possible wins and trying to catch every single play honestly just sets me up to make mistakes that cost me money long term. I'm not interested in that, right? I'm not interested in tormenting myself chasing trades that maybe aren't perfect, and understanding that I cannot control the size of my next win. I can't control how much stock is going to move in my favor, but I can always control how much I lose on any given decision. So I'm trying to obsess over that first. And then once those variables are tight, right, and I don't have any leakage there, then it's a lot easier for me to actually sustain any progress and to compound wins. So yeah, okay, maybe that means I have to be bored. Maybe that means I have to sit on hands. Maybe that means I don't get any action when all of social media is a buzz with fake P&L screenshots. But I'm not here, right, to get social media clout or to do anything along those lines. I'm here to execute my edge and to be disciplined and structured and honestly psychotic in how I execute it. And that also means that I am unwilling to take losses that break me spiritually, right? That put me on edge, that give me anxiety, that make it harder for me to execute my edge again in the future. So, not here to be impulsive. I'm here to be in control, to be deliberate, right? To be specific and to execute my plan and follow my rules. Everything else, kind of meaningless, right? What's the point of having a big win if your next loss is just going to take it all back, right? My job as a trader is to turn green days into green weeks into green months, right? And green months into green years. And so it's much easier to have a green week, much easier to have a green month, much easier to have a green year when my losses, right, are in control, when I'm not chasing everything that I think is going to be a winning trade, and I'm just playing my system to the T, right? So if I don't get the action that I'm looking for, not a big deal. The market's like a bus, right? If there's another trade, there will always be another opportunity, right? There's always another one coming. And I have never been one trade away from being rich, but I've always been one trade away from losing everything. So I'm trying to protect myself from that version first. And then, right, I can optimize to try to increase the size of my wins. But profitable trading always starts with behaving how you say you're going to behave and by following your rules. And if I start trying to apply exceptions or I start to deviate away from my plan or my structure, then all that I do is just set myself up to deal with negative forms of variance, right? So if my average loss is $1,000 and my average win is $500, that means I gotta have 2 wins in a row to cover one losing trade, right? Just to break even. That's tough to do, right? It's tough to have that little margin for error. But if I keep my losses to be $500, 15 points, 20 points, right? That can happen in one candle, right? That can happen in 30 seconds. That can happen without a tremendous amount of stress and anxiety. That just makes my life better, right? That makes it easier for me to be profitable. That sets me up, right, to find the success that I'm looking for. So I'm not in a rush to lose money. And I think that's the difference between profitable traders and unprofitable traders. Is unprofitable traders believe that every thought that they have about the market intraday is going to be correct and is going to make them money. Profitable traders start with the assumption that every trade is going to lose, and they think about protecting themselves like lunatics instead of trying to maximize their P&L. If a trade is strong, right? If an idea is strong, if a trend is strong, it'll give you more than one chance to enter. Not just going to be like one chance of the dance, right? So I really don't need to rush that decision. And so far, what have I missed? Right? I have not missed out anything. Probably just cost myself, right, from getting stopped out at a random candle. Sweet, right? That's a good result, all things considered. All right, my second best trade is the one that doesn't cost me any money, right? I'm in my second most profitable position right now, which is just sitting on hands, being patient and waiting for the market to show me what the path of least resistance is. And if I need validation from my ideas to be profitable, right, then I'm chasing something that is inherently flawed, right? Because I'm extremely biased once the market is open. I think, yeah, everything's going to make me money, right? Everything has the potential to make me money. When in the reality, right, for 99% of thoughts, they're kind of fugazi, and I don't need to put too much stock into them. So this setup trigger is still in play, right? We haven't made a lower low here. We haven't done anything along those lines. We're just trying to set ourselves up for an appropriate risk-reward ratio to be able to take this risk. Don't need to be in a rush to lose money here yet. Well, big numbers are different for everyone, Deb. So I don't know if I would think that way, right? I like to think about scaling up my position size and scaling up my leverage as like a reward for following my process. So I've said this to a bunch of people here in our one-on-one calls, and I'm sure I've said it on the stream here before. But if you want to increase your sizing, prove to yourself that you can basically manage your ability to follow your rules, right? No interest in a CL short, right? There is no interest in crude to the downside here until 1030 data gets out of the way. Not going to trade into that algo reaction. So if you want to increase your sizing, track the rules, right? That you want to make sure that you're behaving, right? Okay, I closed all my trades as my P&L is increasing. I never exceeded my max loss number. I journaled all of my trades. I studied what I could have done better or what I did worse, right? And then at the end of the week, if you did all of those things, hey, increase your position sizing a little bit, right? Build up that extra tolerance, right, to see if you can stomach that sizing. And then it's the same thing, right? Okay, I increased my sizing, I increased my pressure. Well, you know what? I followed all of my rules. I behaved the way that I said I was going to behave. I remained in control. So let me increase it again, right? Let me gamify my ability to increase it. Prove to myself that I have the discipline and structure to be profitable, right? So I don't think that it's like we should rely on facts, not feelings there, right? Do I constantly behave how I say I'm going to behave? Does that set me up to be successful or not? Right? And if I can essentially follow all my rules, yeah, why not increase my sizing? Yeah, so far, very choppy. Yeah, very, very choppy price action. No indication of a clear trend. And we've sat on hands, right? And avoided losing money here so far today. So good decisions all around. Sometimes the best decision is the trades you don't take, right? But we're still in play here. We maybe have an opportunity for this breakdown play. I'm going to still wait it out a little bit. Yeah, Jay, send me a message, man. Nothing I can do over stream. I'm not going to give you anything over stream. Send me an email or a DM and we can set that up. Generally, you're going to be prompted by email on when to do that. And you haven't been in the program long enough yet to have triggered that email. As with the PA turning into a funded account, right? It should be once you pay your activation fee, it should be live the next day. So I don't know what maybe is missing on your end there. But yeah, Jay, you can find the information on your timeline and all that kind of stuff inside the FAQ section. Oh, I would recommend you review those and just make sure you have the correct expectations over how to progress and improve. Yeah, so far so slow. Hey, Adnan, hope you're doing well. What do you mean by just do it one by one? What do you mean? Again, if I'm going to be trading NQ here on this pullback, it would have to be around that 590. Well, that's up to you, Jay. I can't comment on how you want to pay for your activation fees. You need to understand what it's going to cost you, right? You chose to pass 6 of them at once, but now you can't afford that. It's honestly, man, that's a you problem, not something that I can help with. We have to understand what we are getting involved with and can't expect me to fill in your gaps here. Well, my recommendation for not losing it all starts with the risk management component. And you can find that video inside the trading docs tab, right? Thinking about your position sizing for futures, thinking about what your max loss number needs to be, thinking about how you're going to manage your exposure so that you aren't one trade away from losing. I've said it many times, but your max daily loss should be your total trailing drawdown divided by 5. No, it's a different video, Jay. Video called Futures Position Sizing. And there's a document with that as well. Erica, so when I'm looking for setups, basically just depends on if I'm getting the pullback technique or if I'm getting the aggressive technique. So what I'm doing here is drawing my lines from my profit target towards my stop loss. So my profit target on this 5-min setup, right, is my red line here from my indicator. And my stop loss, because we haven't made a lower low here yet, would be the high of my confirmation candle, which is the 10 a.m. candle. So I'm drawing it just from my profit target up towards my stop loss price. So it's identifying, right, where my risk is. And then, okay, is that the aggressive technique or the conservative pullback technique? Right now it's the pullback, so I know stop loss needs to be high of confirmation candle. If it was the aggressive, right, it would be high of the candle that made the lower low. And then this blue line here, right, is my reference point for where I am risking less than $500 on my trade. So looking around that 91 area, right? That's going to be the starting point here for me. So I'm starting to set that up, right? Limit price 21,591. Stop loss, right? 21,616. Just typed it in. So let's see if we can get the correct reaction here and then go from there. Okay, so watching closely, right? 7 points away. And I want to see, like if on our previous, on our confirmation candle, right, we saw a really aggressive rejection above that 590, defending that 600. On my entry, I'm looking for that similar type of reaction, right? So I want this to act like a trampoline, right? So once it hits above this, it should bounce back down instead of like drifting, right? We want to see a sign of like an aggressive defense, not just like a slow, methodical kind of move. So let's see. I mean, look, it's very choppy here so far, so we need to be very, very picky. Doesn't need to be a reason to force anything. Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility here that we don't get any action. Absolutely. We're an hour into the day and we've not seen really any indication of a trend day here yet. Well, we're within 20 points again of our possible entry price. So we're still watching this. Absolutely. And so this is going to set up here in two ways for us, right? Either we get the kind of like high volume stuff rejection here at that 91. And if we do get that, cool, right? That's going to be our entry trigger. If we don't, right, then maybe we get the double fake out scenario where it makes a move above 615, pulls back down, and then sells off, right? Or alternatively, right, the third solution would be then to get a breakout above 615 and you get that continuation up towards, say, 21.7. We've got three scenarios that we're basically watching to see which one occurs. And hopefully, right, we can get some sort of reaction. But yeah, Robert, you're spot on. Price action just continues to consolidate inside that 5-min bar from 10 a.m. So no real indication of, yeah, there being like a strong theme of the day here yet. You almost need like a Trump tariff tweet or something. So again, still watching here. We're like 60 ticks away, right, from where I'd like to see price action. So again, I'm not in a rush to lose money here today. Had a nice day yesterday, had a nice day Monday, had a nice day Friday. If I don't get a trade here today, not the end of the world, right? It means nothing. There's no pressure I'm putting on myself to make money. I'm putting pressure on myself to make good decisions. The difference there is subtle but important, right? Because I think the most dangerous or the worst possible trade is the one where you make money by breaking your rules. And once you get rewarded, right, for breaking your rules, it's really hard to look at them rationally, right? And Chris, we've all lost money chasing trades that feel like they're sure things. When in reality, it's almost like if we just Costanza'd that feeling, we actually would have made money. So, okay, we're within 8 points here. So let's watch. I've got everything set up here, right? Stop loss 21,616. Limit price 21,591. That would mean I'm risking exactly $500, right? Which is my max loss that I'm willing to take per trade. And the deeper pullback I can buy, the more buffer or more margin of error I create for myself, right? So to be very patient, watching this reaction. I don't need to be trigger happy here, right? I'm a sniper, not a machine gunner. Okay, so there's that first test of that price. Decent reaction. Let's see it again. This would be one contract, right? So I'm risking 25 points and it moves $20 a point, right? So that's my $500 worth of risk. So I will risk two contracts when my stop loss is like 12.5 points or less, right, on NQ. So one contract play. Okay, so still watching here very carefully. Okay, guys, so I am in average price 593, in at 593. There's that retest of it. Let's see if this thing can break down here for me. And so far, so okay. A decent initial rejection, but now it's moving a little bit slower than maybe I would have liked. Let's see if we can get back down. Much better. I got stuffed at entry price. Gotta die here. Not say that this has been the trampoline reaction yet. Okay, maybe a little bit more. Better. Much, much better. It's gotta die. Do not like the higher high. Hmm. Gotta get back under here. Gotta get back under. Let's go. So maybe not a perfect entry. Gonna go on maybe just a little bit closer to 600. Would have been better, but let's see if this thing can now break down. Awesome entry, Preet. Awesome. Okay, we're back in business here. Hmm. Not a perfect reaction. From being objective, not a perfect reaction. Increasing volume. Not a super strong candle. No lower low. Come on. So I'm just watching this very carefully. I got my finger on the X button. If I'm being honest to my gut feeling, I feel like maybe my entry was a little bit early. Right? Not the perfect reaction post entry where I've not really gotten any separation away from my price in either direction. $600, just being very sticky. What I'm thinking maybe makes me feel like the double fake out is more likely. Hard to tell if I'm early or if I'm wrong. So I'm trying to look at the clues here as much as I can and just be calm in that analysis, right? Like I said, if my thesis is strong, I'll get more than one chance to enter. Okay, this is a better reaction. We'd like to see it make a lower low here, right? Under that 79 and start to give me separation away from the entry price. If it's not going to give me that separation, I'm not going to trust this and I'm just going to take my $100 win and move on. And yeah, it's ES certainly not making life easy here. Right at a psych level. Well, let's see if it can break. You kind of hate this. This entering a trade and being in the no man's land post entry is probably the worst feeling in the world. I'm on. Keeps like going to the low 580s and then finds buyers, pushes it back up to the 90s. I want to see it make a lower low here and hold. Better. Now, right, we need this candle to hold under this blue line. All right, 20 seconds to go. If it doesn't, I'm going to have to get out. right? It's not holding lower lows yet, not increasing volume. We need it to be at least a strong candle shape. Did not do so. So first little move lower, I'm going to look to get out, and I can always reset and look to jump back in. I don't know. First little quick flush here, I'm going to be closing. All right, guys, I am out of this trade, 576, out at 576. So not bad, right? But I don't think I had the perfect reaction here post-entry. Wasn't quite behaving the way that I wanted. So I'd rather reset, right, than try this again than hoping I get lucky. I do think that was probably the right decision here. So plus 340 bucks on that trade. Not quite 1R. But it's not moving the way that I expect. So take my trade off here as my P&L is increasing instead of on a pullback. Okay, right? That decision made me an extra $80 to $100. So again, if this thing sets up and shows me strength, we'll have an opportunity. If it doesn't give me that reaction, no worries, right? I took my shot at the market and didn't give me that max fall through. And I do think if I'm looking at this objectively, it was the right decision in hindsight now, right? Getting out of that trade 10 points lower instead of closing it now on a panic at 586. There's a $200 difference right there, right? So although it wasn't a perfect result, enough of those little wins here together certainly compounds and turns into something pretty nice. So now I'm going to go back to, what's the way of describing it? So at my first entry, right, at that 93 entry, 2 minutes later, it started to feel like, hey, this probably isn't behaving the way that I expect. And the first thought I had was that maybe the fake out above, right, that 5-minute high of day, maybe is the more likely entry trigger, right? Or maybe the ideal entry. So I'm going to be watching now for that reaction to see if I can get a second stab at this if it wants to behave. Alternatively, right, I would need to see a very high volume rejection off of 21,600 to be able to play this to the downside. Basically, some sort of indication that I have a change in momentum or a personality change here away from this kind of low vol grind. I'm either looking for a fake out, right, above previous high of day and then a breakdown, or some sort of personality change from a short-term volume perspective to indicate that I'm going to get some nice oomph. Nice work, John. So about 20 points for you. Can't complain about that. Nice work, Mike. 13 points. Let's go. So again, right, today we've avoided chasing impulsive trading ideas. Took a small win, right? Build ourselves a little bit of a buffer. It's not to say that our next decision now needs to be aggressive, but it feels almost like Almost feel like vindicated that I waited, right, for my entry reaction, that I trusted my plan, that I didn't get greedy, and I got a good result for that, right? $340. It's not life-changing money by any means, but you stack up enough of those days, enough of those gains, and all of a sudden, right, things are looking pretty good. And yeah, no worries, Norm. Happy to always talk through my process and to try to explain like the crazy thoughts that are going on in my head. And yeah, looking at this here now, think about how bad we would feel price action was now hanging out at 600. It would feel kind of like shit, right? You're up 20 points, now you're down 10 points. It wouldn't feel good, right? And this would then create that scenario where you get that like impulsive reaction or that irrational thought or feeling or decision, and then going from there. So a breakout here, Erica, great question. So a breakout here would be looking for a move above previous high day. So that's that blue line on increasing outlier volume and a candle that looks like 1, 2, or 3. So we'd want to see basically what like this 10-10 candle is, but holding above that blue line. Otherwise, we're looking for another rejection or a fake out above. So based on what markets have been telling us here so far today, right, with kind of like the choppy, fake outy type price action, probably the most likely outcome would be, right, a fake out mean reversion type trade. And it's easier for us to get that signal, I think, than it is for us to get that increasing outlier volume breakout. So, okay. I only get this as my win here today. I'm not going to complain. Well, what I look for here on my opening range, right, is the low vol fake out is one of the scenarios, or the high vol breakout. So I would say that this is one of the scenarios that I look to trade. I'm always looking for either a fake out above the range or a breakout away from the range. So both of those would be acceptable techniques in my opinion. And based on what my ORB logic dictates. So I think you answered your own question there, Rajat, right? If my stop loss is at 616 and price touches 602, that's still 14 points away from my stop loss price. And so that should not be getting triggered at that time. My stop loss would have gotten triggered on a touch of 616. Does that make sense though? So you understand why I didn't get stopped out on that trade? Can you send me a screenshot of your chart and your order history to Michael at dtrtrading.com? Because yeah, my stop loss on that trade was 616 and it never hit that price. So either you set something wrong, right, in your order window, or you have maybe like delayed market data or something along those lines. So I'm still looking for that possible fake out scenario here. So I would say that there's no indication here yet that the trend has changed because this candle above 600 is like the third or fourth lowest volume bar of the day. So it's not being supported by a shift, right, in more buyers or more sellers. So I would say that there has not been that personality change that you're describing, Preet. We've spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 5-minute candles inside that 10 a.m. bar, right? So we're at 65 minutes of effective consolidation here. And it's hard to say that anything's really changed. CL could be interesting here for sure. Targeting 71. Approximately 10 cents of risk. Would like to see a deeper pullback than that. Personally, though, I'd prefer to play this fake out scenario. This seems a little bit more likely to give me easy follow through. We're so close. I'm going to keep watching both here. But I would prefer NQ. And primarily, right, the reason why I would prefer to focus here on NQ versus CL is CL post crude oil inventories is just going to be all algorithms and kind of crazy price action. It's generally challenging for me to be able to trade that, as it's really easy to get like backwashed, right? Which is not a good feeling. Like this trade would have probably stopped me out here already. I don't really want to deal with, right? Okay, so now officially, right, I would have been stopped out there at CL. Okay, so now, right, there's the first attempt here at this high, watching this very, very carefully. For now, we don't have confirmation of this idea here yet, right? This has not particularly behaved like a fake out on this opportunity because it has not pulled back under that blue line. So we're looking for it to pull back under that blue line first. If it does, then we'll be risking approximately 20 points, which would be $400 worth of risk and one contract. Okay, and maybe we'll be able to play this as like an outlier breakout here on the 3. Stop loss would be high of the entry candle here, Norm. Stop loss would be high of the entry candle if you get that fake out. Doesn't appear to be the setup. So we're going to be looking here now for a possible breakout scenario, right, towards 21.7. Right, we've got increasing outlier volume. Now we're just looking for a relatively strong candle shape here to indicate that follow through. And this could also be setting up as a possible rejection thesis too. We'd like to see this close as a red candle if that's the case. Okay, good close. So now we're looking for a rejection here, right? Towards low of day. We want to see it break down. So still hasn't made a lower low, so we can still look for the pullback entry technique. Okay, now we're looking for the aggressive. And be a stop loss, right, of 616. So 616 stop loss, right, which would mean that I'm still only buying one contract. I'm going to look for support to basically step in for a downside move here around this 600. Okay, too fast through that line, right? Too fast through that line. The other option would be here for it to find support. Well, now we're back at that 600. Still too fast through that line, right? Quick little pullback under, but then just as quick on the pullback back towards it. Again, still being very patient here. What's the rush, right? What's the rush? Yeah, it basically just keeps bouncing up off of that blue line here, not bouncing under and holding. Want to see it bounce under and hold and then touch and sell off, right? Touch and sell off, touch and sell off. That's what we're looking for here. Okay, so maybe now I could do this while treating this as my point. So 13 points of risk. Now gentle pullback here. Gentle, gentle, gentle. Give me an 82. Okay, watching here very carefully. Okay, there we go. So I am in average price 582. One contract. So far, so good, right? Pretty much green instantly. And did you hear, right, how I picked my price, right? Okay, when I was seeing a breakdown, give me 582, right? Give me 582. I'm giving myself an instruction of what I want to see before I jump into this trade, right? So then it either gives me that gentle pullback above that price or it doesn't. Not waiting on a feeling, I'm waiting on a binary reaction, right? So either it hits 582 or it doesn't. I think it went even as high as 584. So again, right, being deliberate is a cheat code. I'm not chasing after what feels like the right entry. I'm being deliberate and it either hits or it doesn't. Well, it's just the number of the 236 fib line here, right? It's the number that has been spat out here. So I'm just picking that. I'm making my life easy. If I enter at this price and I have my stop loss at 606, am I within my risk reward zone? Am I risking less than 500 bucks? Cool. Yes. Sweet. Awesome. Go enjoy life. So it's not even like there's no like technical skill to picking that number. It's just being deliberate with your plan, right? You could have said 590. You could have said whatever it is, right? The point is that you just have that Alamo line that you're looking at. Hey, does this fit within all of my criteria? Does this match all the rules that I need? Yes, no, maybe. And then either it happens or it doesn't, right? You're just giving yourself a reason to have a binary reaction to price. So 82, right, to 606 is 24 points. So I'm risking $480, which is why I was willing to take that decision. This probably isn't moving as smoothly as I would have hoped here. So let's see if it can flush. Okay, but so far, 2 good decisions here today. All right, this is going to turn into a $500 day. Can't really complain about that. So let's see if this thing can keep flushing, keep breaking down. And ES certainly helping. So let's see if it's got the legs. Goes. And a 2 out of 3 hold here, right? So a strong candle shape and a hold under a low of day would set me up to be able to potentially pyramid into this next leg, right? Now, if it doesn't give me that, then okay, I got to get out. So far, so good. And just to go back to that, how did I pick my entry price thing? I'm literally just letting the intrusive thoughts win, right? So when I'm looking at this reaction, I'm looking at price action. What's the first number that comes into my head? It was 582. Okay. Either it hits that or it doesn't. I can make that a binary process. Now, this is starting to not behave the way that I want. So I just say it out loud, right? All I do then was just say it out loud. And wait, either it happens or it doesn't. So not a great looking candle here. 10 seconds to go. There's got to do something dramatic. First little move lower. I'm going to get out. Give me a flush. Come on. Come on. Die, die, die. Come on. Come on. Come on. struggling. It's very much struggling here. All right. Kind of shaking my head here a little bit. So I didn't find the close when I probably should have. Come on. Come on. I just got stopped out. I feel kind of stupid on this. I didn't take profit when I should have. Makes me feel a little bit dumb. Feel stupid. Puts me red on the day here now, right? Uh, I still have another chance. I'm gonna stick around for just a little bit. Yeah, I said I wanted to close post this candle, and then I just never had the hopium thinking it was going to pull back into 72, and it never did. Kind of like set myself a dollar target instead of just getting out. I think that's a little bit stupid. All right, so we're back in business here for a possible fake out scenario again. Hey, awesome, Jared. Yeah, well done. And it's okay after kind of like a bit of a shitty result, right? Two things to focus on. Focus on posture and focus on breathing, right? You're wanting to like get back in control over how you're feeling, right? Not do anything impulsive, not do anything along those lines. And just be in control there. Usually, right, when I go on tilt, or when we go on tilt in general, the first thing that goes is our posture and then our breathing. So focusing on controlling those elements. Definitely annoyed. Definitely annoyed. Cruel, cruel game. Okay, so still watching here, still watching. I'm down $140, right? So I'm 7 points away from a green day, which I mean NQ will give you in a second. Yeah, no, on to the next one. Not the end of the world. Hey, great to hear that, Mike. Yeah, it's okay. We're gonna make mistakes, right? We're all gonna make mistakes, unfortunately. The question is, okay, now when the day is over, how can I study that trade, right? What can I learn from it? What can I take from it so that it doesn't like spiritually crush me, right? Yeah, absolutely, Mike. And I already know what I did wrong. So just the afternoon is going to be about thinking, okay, how can I, next time I feel that emotion, how can I go right instead of going left? Right? Today I went left. Okay, so again, still watching for this possible fake out thesis. Going to do so on decreasing volume, right, which is good. And the stop loss, right, would be the high of the entry candle. So potentially this might be the opportunity. 2 point stop loss, 3 point stop loss, far too tight. Like the spread will get you there. So I want to see a little bit more separation. So here's our little range, right? We've got top line would be stop loss. Blue line is where we want to see it retest and break down under. Not increasing volume. So for now, right, you'd be looking at approximately an 8-point stop loss on NQ. So 8 times 20, right, is definitely below 500. So this could potentially be a multi-contract trade. I would say 642 stop loss, right? And you're looking for an entry under 634. Okay, so now stop would be 644. And again, right, I am 4 points away from a green day. I don't need much here. But I'm also, because I'm close, right, doesn't mean I need to place another trade here just so that my vanity metric of one red day on the year remains intact. Like, that's kind of superficial. $140 red day. It's not life-changing, let's put it that way. Alternatively here, right, we could be looking for that breakout scenario. Let's see if this can give me outlier volume. Starting to not behave like a fake out here anymore. There's the outlier. Now that could possibly be in play, targeting 21.7. Right, and 21.7 is just the first level we mapped out here in our pre-market prep. Okay, so this would have to be the aggressive technique. And we're looking for it to find support off of the confirmation candle high. Hasn't done that yet. Okay, so again, watching here very closely. Could be 2 contracts. But we still haven't seen that blue line here act as support. So that's what we're watching. Possibly also do this here on the 5-min like this, where you're looking for a pullback, find support. Stop loss then would be 628. That might be just a little bit easier for me, I think. Or alternatively, right, this goes aggressive on the 5. And I look for a 53, right, as support. The stop loss at 44. We have lots of ways of being able to play this. And I'm going to call this outlier just by the skin of its teeth, right? It is touching. If we can bounce off of this area. Okay, now we're looking for the aggressive technique here. Stop loss 36. Entry has to be 51 or lower. And that would be a one contract play here. And we could probably even play this on the 15. 15 might be, I think. Okay, within 4 points here. Looking at the green line as the possible entry. Or, right, possibly this 15 min and a little reset. Possibly even the 3 min if it can go increasing outlier. It'll be close. That is increasing outlier now, so we're in business here again. So we can't see it pull back too far here. Okay, so there's that 51 attempt. Let's watch. And now we're back potentially to the aggressive. Okay, so watching here. Stop loss 49. This would be 2 contracts. Our stop loss would be 47.50. Okay, so I'm in 58.75. 58.75. 2 contracts. And let's see if this thing's got the juice to run big here to the upside. 658. Whoops. Okay, so let's watch here. Let's watch. So far, so good. Let's see if we can get some follow through here. Again, right? That now puts me green on the day. So I want to make sure that that finishes that way, right? That's really the priority here. And if you're going to get out protecting a win, focus on closing, right, as your P&L is increasing, not decreasing. Don't panic close, right? Close in control with a deliberate decision, not one that is a reaction to what the market is making you feel. Do you understand that distinction? So you are the one who makes the decision to get out, not as a reaction to what the market is making you, what that sensation is, right? So be the one who knocks. I'm still holding this, right? I actually got all three, 2 out of 3. Held higher highs, right, on increasing volume. I still don't have a reason to get out of this trade besides just fear. I'm not going to let that win. So there's $800, right? Very, very good result here. Let's see if this thing can keep going. Have one feeling better. Awesome. All right, so I think a really good example here today of behaving with a 0-0 mindset, right? So I'm going to make mistakes. That's fine. But I'm not going to allow myself to compound them and make things worse just because I'm, I don't know, an emotional Neanderthal, right? That's not really worth it. Going to be a really good trading day here. I will not let this trade go red. I'm up $1,000 on this play, right? So if I feel like I need to close, I'm closing here as my P&L is increasing, not on a pullback, right? Not on a pullback. So far, so good. Maybe this will give me a chance to pyramid now. Maybe not. Let's even get through 700 here. Come on, come on. And a pop through 700 will be my reason to close. Bit late in the day. Not expecting a huge amount of continuation here. And up nearly 1,700 bucks on this trade. We don't need to get greedy, right? So quick little pop here above, and I'll look to get out. Okay, watching closely here. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's go, Mike. Congratulations. And that's me closing right there, guys. Closed at 706.50. Closed at 706.50 plus 1890 on that trade. Awesome, right? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Beautiful. Boom. So what a decision, right? To control our emotions. Right? Focus on just getting a little bit better, right? Not allowing mistakes to get in the way. Okay, right? I don't have to be perfect. I don't expect myself to be perfect. But I expect myself to behave in a way that sets me up to be mostly successful and awesome, right? It's a really, really strong day. Right? A little bit under 1,800 bucks on the session. Can't complain. So good, good day. Nice work, Erica. Let's go. Yeah, feel pretty good now. Feels very vindicated, right, for not being an impulsive prick and for just allowing my strategy to play out, right, and for that variance to kind of all come together. Beautiful, Rusty. Nice work, Jared. Let's go. So 2,200. I got 1,000 bucks. I got 1,400 bucks. Bert, you're up 1,700. Erica up 900 on the day. Like, these are great results here, team. Right? Very, very resilient. Sammy up 1,500 bucks on the day. That is fantastic, right? That is your proof of concept that a singular mistake doesn't kill you. Jason up 20 or up 2,000. Igor 740. Amazing team. Amazing. Greg 1,600 on the day. Let's go, team, right? That is beautiful. Radar plan, we be specific, right? We talk about how we want price action to behave. Boom, we set ourselves up to be successful. I'll take that. 2 for 3 on the day. Strong session. Who could complain about that, right? Maybe could have held on for longer, but that's not the point, right? My plan was to close at 700. Followed my plan perfectly, right? Behaved exactly how I said I was going to behave. Got like nearly 4-to-1 return on risk. I don't need to feel any FOMO or any whatever you want to call it. I think this was a really good day. Things to learn from, right? Things to be proud of, and things to focus on for tomorrow. So I'm feeling good, team. I'm feeling, yeah, feeling really good. Any Joe, let's go, man. 1,300 bucks. John, 1,200. Really, really well done, team. And I gotta be honest, I'm very proud of seeing so many big numbers here today after a trade that I think was very easy to go on tilt from. So I love that, right? I love that discipline. I love that inner excellence. Quote AJ Brown. Go Birds. And it is fantastic to see everyone control basically their expectations, control their emotions, and finish up right on what was an incredibly satisfying result, right? And I think most importantly, it's that when you overcome your mistakes and make new all-time highs in your portfolio, that reinforces, hey, I'm actually pretty good at this, right? I know what I'm doing. I can survive the worst thing I can do to myself and still finish the day green. So if that doesn't make you excited to lose small, to be like, I always say, I want to be the Richard Rodriguez of risk management, right? I want to be the Night Stalker of my P&L and just slash and cut things before they get nasty. The more that I can obsess over being that psychopath, the better things tend to go for me here long term. So awesome, awesome work, team. I love to see it. Very proud of you all for that. That is awesome work. And boom, what a day. Let's go. So, any questions here, team? Anything you guys want to go over? Anything I can maybe explain differently, explain better? What's missing for you guys here? Anything? It's just a classic breakout trade. I don't see myself placing any further trades here, Dennis. I'm pretty happy with the day. And it's a little bit later on in the session here, so I've got no reason to make too many more aggressive decisions. Yeah, building patience is key, but I think that building patience isn't just like a waiting thing. I think that Joe, it's about being specific, right? If I know what I'm waiting for, it's easy to be patient. But if I'm like um just hoping that the first train I see is the one I need to take, it's not going to be surprising if I end up at the wrong station, right? So if I know that I'm waiting for the Hogwarts Express at platform 9 3/4, then it's easy to wait for that train because I know what I'm looking for. But if I'm waiting for a train that takes me to Hogwarts, but I don't know what platform it is or what the name of the train is, then I'm probably going to get on the wrong one, or I'm going to sit there and wait with anxiety, fearing that I missed it. So for me, right, it's the specifics that make patience possible. And by being more deliberate in what our trading plan is, I think the easier it is to be calm. And I want to say thank you to you all for pushing me to explain what I'm looking for in more detail, because I feel a lot calmer about my trades. I feel a lot more confident that I know what I'm doing. I feel, yeah, very like vindicated. Said that word a few times here today, but that I'm like on the right path. So saying those things out loud, being deliberate, being specific, right? Just like sharing those thoughts makes me so much better as a trader. So I appreciate you guys all pushing me towards that next stage. And I'll keep getting better at learning how to explain these concepts. Sometimes I gotta translate things from Polish to English to French to English again. And yeah, things get lost in translation. So I do apologize. But we're getting there. Yeah. And just knowing that, hey, like I think I even said it in the moment, Mike, but it's like when I go on tilt, I know that the first thing that goes is my posture and then my breathing. We talk about those forks in the roads, right? When you deal with something that you know is like a little bit frustrating, you find your almost like North Star of how you can reset yourself, right? And so the reset is okay, shoulders back, right? Chest up, focus on your breathing, and just reclaim control here again. And just the sense of calm that that creates, that you don't then force a decision, right? That you have like a little grounding mechanism, right? After something goes well or after something goes wrong, it just clears your head and resets and puts you in a position to have yourself a great day, right? I'm very proud that we didn't allow mistakes to compound here today, because I think that's one of the easiest things to do as a trader. And I'm very, very proud of us here today, team. Very, very proud. Let's go, Alfred. Nice work. And yes, guys, I left money on the table on this trade, right? That's fine. If you're going to be a profitable trader, you have to get used to leaving money on the table. Catching tops and bottoms is an element of luck, not necessarily skill. Now, if I'm looking at this objectively, there are probably reasons for me to have had conviction that this was going to continue running, right? High vol breakout through 700, right? Further separation on increasing volume held the highs, right? So it is giving me those signals. But my plan here was to trade for that 700 move. And yeah, okay. Maybe could have gone another 30 points. Should have been great, right? Another 1,200 bucks. Well, we got the majority of that move. So I won't complain. All right, guys. Enough of a victory lap for me here. Hey, awesome, Raphael. Glad to hear that, and glad to hear that you're seeing improvement in your trading. That's fantastic, man. Congratulations. Yeah, we always have another chance. The market's gonna outlast us all, right? And look, I'll speak to the gentleman in here, but if the market ever collapses and it ceases to exist, well, we're at the death of capitalism. And we're probably in a trench somewhere fighting the Russians or the Chinese or the North Koreans. And we've got other problems we got to worry about. So for now, let's just enjoy it while we can. Hey, appreciate you saying that, Mike. We love having you part of the team as well. And appreciate your words of encouragement and your transparency in going through your process. All right, team. Final call for questions here. Final call for questions. The dog's giving me the poop eyes. He's got to go. Oh yeah, Jared. Well, keep stacking them up, right? One red day here on the year so far. Let's keep building, right? Keep compounding, keep focusing on the quality of our decisions, and then the P&L will take care of itself. $100, 100%. All right, team. Well, same deal like always, right? If you have any questions, hit me up outside of market hours. Do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. I got a little bit of a Costco day here in front of me. I got to get into the real world here for a couple hours. So bear with me if you don't hear a response for a little bit. But otherwise, guys, have yourselves a great day. I'm going to go get some inflation-proof hot dogs and stack up on some protein. And yeah, we'll be back at it again here tomorrow. Same deal like always, right? If you have any questions, hit me up. I'll do my best to get back to you. And let's just keep crushing it, team. Really, really well done here today. Love the discipline. Love the approach. Love the desire to improve and just get a little bit better. So write this down in your journal, right? This is the thing to track here today. It'll be the final thing I say. But it's, I made a mistake. I found a way to reset myself. Write down what that reset was and how positive the result was after you made sure to restore your mental capital. That's all we did here today, right? We caught ourselves before our mental capital reserves exploded. We put ourselves in a situation to be able to compound good decisions. We made 2 good decisions here today, 1 bad decision, and then multitude good decisions of avoiding action. Once we had risk on, once we had pressure on, we did more well than not. I think we should be very proud of ourselves for that here today. So, well done here, team. Looking forward to trading with you all here tomorrow. And I think it's time to stop watching this price action and pretending I should have held on. So, have yourselves a great day, team, and we'll see you soon. Peace.